a faffing around video, which is a continuation of another video. So I did pasta with cauliflower as an alternative to broccoli a few weeks back. Or was it a few weeks back? It might have been a couple of months back. Out of curiosity, I was just having a play around, and then I kind of thought, well, faffing around with a new idea of cooking pasta, where you cook pasta in a little amount of water, and it forms a much better sauce if you're making carbonara and that type of thing. So I kind of thought we should probably have another go at the cauliflower, but then I kind of realised that I haven't got any cauliflower, and I didn't really want to buy some. And could we actually make it from peas instead? Would like cooking like a pea puree kind of work instead of that? And then I kind of thought, well, could we do like pea and bacon type of pasta? And then there is lots of recipes for pea and bacon pasta and pea pasta, but I didn't like the look of those, and I kind of thought that I could do my own kind of version, and we could see if it kind of worked. So kind of cooking the pasta in the pan with the fat from some bacon and all that type of thing. I wondered if we could actually kind of do that, and would it kind of work. So I'm doing it now. I'm doing half it now. So I'm going to go swimming, and then when I come home, I have to cook things from scratch, and I'm normally really hungry and a bit tired, and I kind of think so I thought what I'll do is I'll do half it now, and then and I've also haven't got enough pasta. I'm going to use penne pasta instead of was it spaghetti? No, it was orecchiette. But anyway, so normal bacon, not guanciale. I have still got some guanciale left, but I've also got some homemade bacon. So 75 grams of bacon, which I've cooked off, and then we're using the fat from the bacon to cook the onions. There's 100 grams of onions, and then there's 200 grams of frozen peas, which are a little bit worse for wear because they've been in the freezer for far too long, and they've got a little bit of frost around the outside of them, but it'll be fine. And then we're going to use I think 250 grams worth of penne pasta. I'm going to have to go out and buy some more, which I'll do on the way back from swimming, which is fine. And then 75 grams of hard Italian cheese. It's just the cheap stuff. It's nothing kind of special. So we've fried off the bacon. It's gone crisp. The lards come out of the bacon, which we're going to use to cook the onions. We're going to do it in the same pan, so it's like a one. See if we can do it in one pan type of thing rather than making lots of mess. And then once the onions are soft, I'll just pick that bit of bacon out of there. What we're going to do is we're going to add the peas, a little bit of water, make pea puree type of thing, and we'll cook the peas and the onions. Well, once the onions are cooked, we'll throw the peas in, add a little bit of water, cook the peas, then drain off the peas, keep that water, cook the pasta in that water, make a pea puree, and then cook the pasta in the little amount of water. By the time the water evaporates, hopefully the pasta will be cooked and lots of starch will have come out of the pasta, which will help combine this with the sauce, because there'll still be a bit of bacon fat in the water type of thing. And then we can add the pea puree back into the pasta and then heat it up and then stir the cheese in, and hopefully we'll make like a pea pasta, and then we'll throw in the bacon at the end, and we'll kind of see how it turns out. The recipes that I've seen, it's a case of you basically make a pea soup. So onions, peas, and quite a bit of water, and then you use the liquid from the pea soup to cook the pasta. So it's kind of, you're cooking it in pea soup, so it's kind of like a pea risotto type of thing, if that kind of makes sense. But I just kind of thought, I'm not entirely sure that I kind of like the sound of that. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a different take on it. So we might add some lemon juice as well. Have I got a lemon? Yes, I've got a lemon. So we might just add a little bit of lemon juice and zest just to kind of freshen it up as well, because it might be a little bit clangy. I was kind of thinking. So we'll cook the onion until it's translucent. We'll throw in some peas. We'll add some water, and then we'll kind of come back at that stage when I'm throwing the peas in, because I'm not really doing much at the moment. It's just frying onions. And I'm sure there's some videos on YouTube of onions just simply frying in a pan, but this is not going to be that video. But anyway, so we'll be back when they're cooked, and the peas are ready to go in a little bit of water. Right, so onions are translucent. I just turn it. I've been faffing around doing something else, so I turn the gas off, and it's colouring a little bit too much, but it's alright because there was a little bit of colour on the bottom of the pan anyway, so I'm not bothered about the onions colouring slightly. So peas in, and all that freezer burn water as well, not to worry, that's alright. And then we've got 400 millilitres of water, kind of winging that amount of water because I'm not entirely sure how this is going to work yet, or if this is too many peas for what we're going to do. So up to the boil, rapid boil until the peas are soft, and then we're going to strain them out along with the onions, and then we'll puree the peas down separately and see how it kind of goes. I was also kind of thinking as well, if we're going to cook the pasta's going to cook 10 minutes, take 10 minutes to cook, and we're going to cook it in some essentially pea soup. The pea's going to lose all the colour, which I'm not entirely sure that I want that to happen. So if we make a pea puree, we'll hopefully keep the nice vibrant colour of the peas. That's the plan anyway. We'll see how it looks. So up to the boil, and we'll strain them out, and then when they're soft, they're not soft yet, still frozen, and then we'll make a pea puree, which is just dead easy. You just need to put them in the container with a blender, and it will just blend them down. Yes, and I was thinking, I have got spare in the house, but I want to use penne because I'm always reminded of the Eddie Izzard sketch about penne pasta and peas and Darth Vader. So I kind of think if Eddie says they go together, they go together. Right, so peas are now cooked, or cooked enough. I'll turn that off. So we're going to drain them, because we're going to use the water that we cooked the peas in, and that's taken off all the juicy bits from the bottom of the pan. That's the water we're going to cook the pasta in. So we're not going to lose any flavour. That there. So water's really cloudy because it's had that bacon fat emulsified into it, which will stop the pasta from boiling over. Right, so probably using more utensils than I should do. And if I was doing this in real time, I'd just throw the pasta in now, but I'm going out. So we'll just have to pretend this is in real time. Goes out the way, so the pasta will go in now, and then while it's in cooking, I would puree the peas down. But I'm going to puree them down now, and I'm going to put them on a plate just to cool down. So just to keep the colour. If we make the pea puree now, it will stay warm, and it'll lose its colour over time because it's going to be like 2.5 hours before I'm back in. So we'll make the pea puree now. Oops. I don't think I want it chunky, I think I want it quite smooth. It's not going to be perfectly smooth, but we'll see how we go. So, this is me faffing and making things up as I go along. There we go, I think that will do. Right, so, plate. Goes out the way. Right, so be careful when we're banging plastic on things because we don't want to break it. So just best to bang it on your hand and then things come off a little bit easier. I'll scrape that down, and then we're just going to spread it out so it cools down quicker. So it'll have a larger surface area, so it'll cool down just that little bit quicker. I've seasoned these as well, so we'll just have to remember before I start cooking the pasta, there's already some salt in the water. So I wouldn't have to do this, but it's just going to save me 10 minutes when I get home, because I'll be absolutely ravenous, especially if I have to pop out some penny as well, which I should have called and got some when I was out earlier. But anyway, so spread that out, it'll cool down quicker, and then we won't lose the vibrant colour of the peas. So that's it until I come home from swimming. Right, so the water doesn't need to come up to the boil because we're not cooking it in the normal way. So I've had about another 200 milliliters of water, and then it's 300 grams of pasta. So hopefully what will happen is, as the pasta cooks, and we'll set this for 5 minutes, and then we'll kind of get an idea. So as the pasta cooks, it will release some of its starchy into the cooking liquid, and that's what's going to help form our sauce. I think it needs a little bit more. So when you're making things like carbonara, it's basically a deconstructed cheese sauce. So instead of making the cheese sauce separately, you make the cheese sauce with the pasta water and the starch from the pasta and some fat, normally from guanciale, but we've got some lard from something else that we'll just add. So those are your building blocks for a sauce. Starch, fat, and cheese. Whereas normally you would add milk. You're making a thinner sauce, so you're kind of using the water as the liquid element of it. So we'll see how we go. I need to grate some cheese. Let's grate some cheese as well. So see how we go. So about 75 grams of cheese, I think, for that amount of pasta. I think we'll see how we go. I could make it easy and say 100, but I think 75 is fine. Is that going to be enough? Yeah, there's too much pea puree for that amount of pasta. So we'll just have to see how we go as we grate it. So it's quite a young hard cheese, so it's not hard. I've always found that when you use older, harder cheeses, it doesn't particularly want to melt into the sauce very easily. So it's probably why, I said it before, but it's probably why these cheap, I'll show you the packet. It's a different one, really get the idea. This one's from Morrison, so it's Italian style hard cheese. I'm guessing that it just doesn't meet the standards that you need to have to be a pecorino or a parmesan or other Italian style hard cheeses. It probably hasn't been aged enough. It probably hasn't got the right kind of ratios of which cheeses you need to use. If you need to use like a cow's milk or a buffalo milk or a goat's milk or a sheep's milk, it probably hasn't got the right kind of ratios. So what's that amount of cheese there? 71. Oh, need a bit more because there's more measuring cling film as well. So a parmesan has to be aged for a certain amount of time. So it's probably just what makes it just non-parmesan is that it's just a little bit younger than it should be, or when they have been maturing it and testing it, it hasn't just kind of reached that kind of standard. that they have for. It probably hasn't just reached the standard that they would like Parmesan cheese too. I don't know. Maybe as it's formed, it's they want me to call it the casing has cracked or something along those lines. So I just kind of they'll sell it off kind of cheaply type of thing. Or maybe the milk hasn't been as good. You know, something's just kind of gone quite wrong. So as you can see, already we're starting to form a sauce in the bottom of the pan. Have a look at it. So it's already started to release the starch from the pasta. So we're already starting to form, essentially, because it's mixing with the fat, it's already starting to form a sauce. So the water's kind of quite thick, which is completely the wrong way to cook pasta. And I do apologise, but if you're making sauces like this, like carbonara, pasta alla griglia, and cacio de pepe at home, you kind of miss out on the pasta water that they use in restaurants, because it's been used for lots of pasta during the day, and it starts to get more starch in it because the water's constantly boiling, new pasta's added to it, and then it gets a lot more concentrated in the amount of starch that's in the water. So you can't really do it at home because you're only cooking the pasta kind of once. When you're cooking a pasta in a lot of water, I think it's 500 grams of pasta. It's like 100 grams of pasta, a litre of water per 100 grams, something like that. Probably the Italians would say even more, and professionals would say even more type of thing. But we're just seeing how it works. So that was 5 minutes cooking. Going to cook it for about 7 minutes, and then we're going to have it. We need some salt in there, even though the bacon's quite salty, and the hard Italian cheese is kind of quite salty. Just going to put some salt in there, and what the peas taste like. Peas are nice, just cheap. The basic ones from the supermarket. Going with my ethos, just buying all these ones from Asda, so they just, or are they little? I can't remember, but they're just the simple ones, so they're just, they are just not a uniform size, and they might not have been frozen within the exact amount of time that they like them to be frozen in. Peas have to be frozen within 20 minutes of them being picked. Ideally, and then they lock in most of the flavour. Certainly the big companies like Bird's Eye say that they have to be frozen with a certain amount of time, and they're picked and frozen as they are almost straight away. So, but the ones that don't kind of make it to the 20, I think it's 20 minutes, or maybe an hour, or something like that. The ones that don't make it, they're not gonna throw them away. They're gonna use them for something else. So that's where the smart price ones, that like all the cheap ones in the supermarket, kind of come from. And also the ones that are maybe a little bit too big or a little bit too small for the petit pois, or just normal kind of peas. So that's why you get the smart price stuff. So Asian shopping really is not. Certainly need some more water. It's tasting alright though. It's tasting alright. Considering that sauce that's forming is just starch, water and some fat. It's pretty nice. Although, obviously, the peas got cooked in it, and the onion got cooked in it, and the bacon, and there is residual kind of bacon flavour in there. That's already kind of quite nice. So, I think that's what. Yeah, do you know, if I would recommend that you kind of cook, if you're cooking lots of things, and you've cooked some vegetables, instead of throwing away pasta water, the vegetable water, if you're cooking some pasta as well, you might as well cook the pasta in that vegetable water, because it's already salty and it's taken on the flavour from the vegetables as well, so it will improve the flavour of your pasta. Certainly, and if you run out of space on top of the stove, so if you've got a smaller stove, it's only got 4 burners, you haven't got like a lot of pans, or you're just working off 2 gas burners or 2 electric two electric hobs, you know, that's what I'd recommend. You know, use the vegetable water to cook your pasta. You know, yeah, that's not good. So loads of starch has come out of this pasta. Sacrilege, absolutely sacrilege. I'm not going to let it cook down too much because I kind of want it to be kind of quite a loose sauce. So maybe half that pea puree, but we can always add a little bit more. So what we'll do is we'll get the pasta so it's almost al dente, and then we'll chuck in some of the pea puree, give it a stir around, get an idea of how much pea puree we want to add, probably half of that I would have thought. Have a look at that, and then turn the heat off. Heat the pea puree through, turn the heat off, add the cheese in, give it a stir around, give it a taste, and then see if it needs a bit of lemon in it. Probably might do. There's not that much acidity in this. And then bacon in last, because what will happen is put the bacon in before the cheese will just want to stick to the bacon. That's not kind of what we want. Ideally, I'd like to make this with orecchietti, but penne is what I've got, and of course the Eddie Izzard reference. I'm still not ready. A little bit more water. I'm just trying to judge it so the pasta's cooked when we've got rid of most of the liquid, and we're stirring it around, which is agitating it. So it's, I don't know why the camera stopped there, but anyway, that's just about cooked, I think. Taste it. Right, we're ready. So, turn it down. Let's go for that amount of pea puree to start off with. That's about half, I reckon. That's about half. So, mix it around. Smells really good. Smells like peas, believe it or not. So, certainly want some pepper. Doesn't want any more peas in that. So, taste. Heat off. Maybe not any lemon. Certainly wants the cheese in. Might be a little bit too much cheese for that. Well, that's about 50 grams. Always turn the pan off when you add the cheese. So yeah, this would be how I would make broccoli pasta as well. So, the taste. Is it cheesy enough? Yes, it's cheesy enough. Now, let's put some lemon in. Just a squeeze of lemon, just to kind of lift the flavour slightly. That much lemon. No more cheese. Bacon in. Not a particularly brilliant appealing colour, but yeah, definitely need a lemon. A bit more. There we go. That works. So I will make broccoli pasta at some stage, and I think that's how I'll do it. And we'll try again with the cauliflower. In a bowl, so we can take a picture. 2 generous portions there. Well, 2 decent portions. Well, for one person who's just been swimming and is rather hungry. Kind of not the best colour. Should be a little bit more vibrant than that. Probably would have been better if I'd have made it straight from the earlier instead of doing it all beforehand and then doing it out. But looks alright, looks alright, looks alright. But there we go, that works. We'll be able to do the same with broccoli pasta and probably with the cauliflower pasta as well.